Good morning. We'll go into the whole ranter spiel in another video. As you can tell by the lack of music, this is going to be one of those where I just need to vent. And the topic of my venting this time around is the Club Q shooting in Colorado Springs, where 18 people were injured, 5 people died. Not going to go into too much detail on that. They named the guy that they are accusing of doing it. I'm not going to name him. You can find that elsewhere. I gotta kind of explain a bit here. A couple of days ago, Vin from Vin and Story, my buddy here, from Middle America, did a live stream concerning this. Now, me and him don't necessarily agree on most things, but we have the respect of going back and forth in our debatings and allowing ourselves to express ourselves without there being, a blood feud over it. So, I was taking part of this live stream, and I could tell that he was feeling it. He was feeling the loss of our human community with these 5 people that died. The purposes of the live stream was that he was going to, post the report from TYT and critique what they're saying and so forth. And this was something he generally does, depending if it's TYT or other sources. He'll go back and forth with what's being said. I don't watch TYT or any other real political podcasts because I tend to think that the function of podcasts of these types, either you're watching them because politically you agree with what they said, so you're essentially watching them to agree with yourself, or you watch them because you disagree with it and you want something to disagree with. It's the old Howard Stern phenomena where, when he was doing a show for WNBC, and they did a report of his viewership, and they find out that people who liked Stern was watching him maybe a portion of the time, and the reason was they wanted to hear what he had to say. And then the people that hated him watched him far more, and why? Because they wanted to hear what he had to say, because they wanted to hear what they wanted to hate that day. So that is a weird phenomenon that happens. I don't really aspire to it, but there it is. Anyway, so Vin's going through the video where they explain what happened at Club Q, and it's fine. It's very detailed. It's by the numbers, right? Then they turn it over to the host, and the host decided to go into a scree upon, gun nuts, Christian conservatives, and anti-LGBTQ, and that's why I bailed out of the conversation. And I literally said on the live stream, "Sorry, folks, but I have to go." Reason being is that not that I necessarily disagree with what he was saying, was because he was saying it 2 days after the shooting. I understand that politics will get into any of these situations, and maybe rightly so, that, events like this, unfortunately, does provoke people to having these type of conversations concerning these type of issues. Either it's gun control, or it's, the continuation of the central hate crimes, be it the LGBTQ community or anybody else for that matter. That is a demographic that people are just going after for irrational bullshit reasons that are just flittering into their head, right? But 2 days after is too soon for us to get into our political reindeer games over it. So that pissed me off, and I bailed, because I'm not gonna piss myself off further just listening to that shit. Okay. And again, I am a democratic liberal here. You would think I would watch this shit and like this. Oh well, I totally agree with that. Time and place for things like that. Okay, so that happened. A day later, on the Muskie Twitter, I filter through all the inanity on Twitter and see this Charlie Kirk post or tweet saying that the shooter was non-binary, says the attorneys. I'm like, and this is breaking news in your world? That, the more important thing of 5 people dying for you, the breaking news is that the shooter that snuffed out these lives has that addressed their pronoun through their lawyers? That's the big thing for you? And it snowballed from there as others decided to take this ball 3 to 4 days out now and turn it into an anti-LGBTQ declaration of Matt Walsh is blaming the people who died for the shooting. Pardon me, because again, I don't watch these podcasters, so I don't necessarily know their names off the top of my goddamn head. But another one of these gerbils decided to put his 2 goddamn cents involved in this. And bear with me. I don't know why they did make things disappear as soon as they arrive. So let's try. Bear with me, guys and gals, all 200 of you, or 33 of you, really. Okay, this was coming from Tim Pool, saying that the grooming of children is not stopping. The people are calling for more violence. I do not think legislators will stop the grooming. People will not stop calling for violence, so you tell me what happens next. So, they deserved it because of grooming. Yeah, sure. That's probably what that is. Tucker Carlson weighed in onto this and did his own little anti-LGBTQ scree on this, and then had a guest on who represents gays against groomers, who was quoted to say, I don't think this is going to stop until we end this evil agenda that is attacking children. Basically saying that more of these attacks would happen, people would still die until people stop grooming. Grooming is a buzzword that we only picked up on the last few years. And I guess she was palatable enough for Tucker to have on his show, so she can amplify what he was already saying. But it also sounds like a threat. Just a little bit. It just sounds a little bit like a threat. Now, bear with me because I'm going to try to find this, so give me a moment. Time in. Okay, I'm gonna go into this. I wasn't gonna do much detail in this because really I'm not in the mood. But this is from the Huffington Post. They're talking about the Tucker Carlson episode upon his opinions on Club Q, and then he introduces his guest Jamie Mitchell, the founder of the anti-trans coalition of gays called Gays Against Groomers, which pushes a demonizing narrative that having conversations with children about gender identity is somehow grooming, sexualizing, and indoctrinating them. Mitchell raises the temperature further, suggesting that anti-LGBTQ attacks like the ones at Colorado Springs Club Q would continue until the evil agenda of gender-affirming care is stopped. Quote, saying that groomer is an anti-LGBTQ slur that is doing irreparable damage to us as a whole, and it's putting really large targets on our back, she said. And unfortunately, the tragedy that happened in Colorado Springs the other night was expected and predictable. Sadly, I don't think it's going to stop until we end this evil agenda that is attacking children, she added. Okay. There's a lot of things that float around when it comes to the term groomers. And again, this is not an old concept here. This is a relatively new thing in our lexicon in the past couple of years. And if you actually think of the lineage of where the term and phrasing came in relation to stuff like this, it started out with people whining about critical race theory. If you think about it. Because they whined about critical race theory, saying that this college level, graduate level study that is done in law school was somehow magically finding its way into grade school. Though people who complain about critical race theory cannot tell you what critical race theory is. So there's that too. But that little breadcrumb led to them going, oh, well, we have to investigate the teachers on this, right? So we didn't investigate the library. So go into the libraries. Oh, there might be books in there that is not intolerant to other people and people with differences. Oh! And then, go after the phenomenon of drag queens who are reading stories to children. And I guess that's grooming now. Okay, whatever. But that snowballed this into making grooming a term. Now teachers are grooming their students, indoctrinating their students. Maybe they're turning these students transgender or gay or whatever for this evil agenda. It's so funny, in a really sick, fucked up kind of way, that people who are so concerned upon teachers or drag queens or whatever, indoctrinating their kids and grooming them and sexualizing them as their point of view are, could be the same people that don't much matter them have little baby pageants. Jean Benet, anyone? That's fine, but that's not. Okay, we draw that little crowbar separation right there. I don't have much more to say because all it is just pissing me off. And the reason why it's pissing me off really now is all because of timing. This happened Saturday. And already we have our dividing line up in our politics back and forth. You are all making these people props for your politics. Again, there's a time and place for doing this shit. This is too soon. And if you don't understand that, then you might want to check to see how your humanity is feeling these days. And as it comes to one of the interesting things, the rush to judgment or the suggesting from the attorneys that the shooter, which I'm not going to name because I am not going to name him, is non-binary, and that's whatever, and that's supposed to mean something. The person shot up people. I don't give a shit if it's Barney the dinosaur. But be that as it may, it's just, I laugh to prevent myself from destroying property. Be that as it may, all that you're pointing that out as to what, that that it's not something else. Somebody else posted that it could be, he was also a Muslim. Now, you can actually look up this guy. This guy has a history. This guy he threatened his mother with a homemade bomb. The family is a joy. But as it is, you go from Charlie Kirk saying that the attorney said it is non-binary. Okay. Somebody else on Twitter, which is of course the patron saint of free speech, so everything must be totally true on there. Another person says, oh yeah, I also heard it was a Muslim. One of the ones that Obama told us to be tolerant about. Okay. So the shooter is a non-binary Muslim. A couple of hours from now, he's going to be a non-binary Muslim illegal immigrant. A few hours from now, he's going to be a non-binary Muslim illegal immigrant fentanyl dealer. And then by the time dinner time comes along, he'll be a non-binary Muslim illegal immigrant fentanyl dealing teacher. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this? And it's not as if I don't have any precedence to back this up. I'm not just pulling this right out of my ass here, because when we had the shooting in Uvalde, Paul Gosar, that dipshit, with no evidence, no proof, decided to suggest that the shooter, that mass killer there, was an illegal immigrant transgender leftist. With nothing. Just pulled it out of the air. And blasted it out. Why isn't anyone demanding his apology? Or compelling him to hey, maybe I was probably wrong about that. Without a shred of nothing. Because Uvalde, the people that died there, that doesn't matter. The unfortunate people who just went to a club to dance, to be themselves, safely expressing themselves behind the closed doors, they apparently don't matter. All that matters is that they're props for your politics. And I started this with the left, with Sink and TYT, using them as props 2 days after the fact to go after Republican conservatives, gun nuts, Christian conservatives. 2 days afterwards. So 3-4 days after the fact, it's the right's turn to go, oh, well, there are people out there that might be grooming, so just expect this kind of violence. No. All of you, left and right, who are using this not even a week old murders, shame on you. All of you. And really, it was pointed out to me. I mean, I was looking up the research of this. So the shooter was taken down by a military vet who went into command mode. he called upon another patron who to get the gun away, and the other patron got the gun away from this guy, or however you want to say, because I don't even. There's no confirmation about the whole non-binary thing, because kind of like Paul Gosar, just right out of the ass there, Charlie Kirk. And then another person came and wrestled the shooter to the ground, who was transgendered. It's not a drag queen, but transgendered. I don't care. Male, female, transgendered, white, black, Christian, Muslim, Hindu. You put your life on the line to stop a massacre? It is like not naming the shooter, but in reverse. These people, regardless of who they are, what they are heroes for preventing further death and destruction at the hands of whatever the fuck this is. So they're heroes. Honor them. But it's too soon to make them into political footballs. Let the dead rest. Give them a week. Can't any of you do that? Or is that too much to ask because you have a fucking deadline? Get on your sound bites online and your podcasts. And when it filters onto the regular news media, we got make sure we got our opinions on there. Get the hosts to talk to experts from one side or the other, and then wax poetically upon your political woe is me, upon whatever issues that you're now translating the deaths of people in order to fit whatever narrative you have, left or right. Give it a week. That's all a humble human being, flawed mortal, is asking. That's all. And that's all I got to say about this. And I'll see you at some other point that pisses me off.